What's up, everybody? Daniel Kaiser here on the GT stage at E3 2010. Now, the banner behind me says F.E.A.R surrounds you, and it certainly does surround me right now. I've got Frank and the rest of the F.E.A.R team here showcasing the co-op mode from F.E.A.R 3. Frank, thanks so much for joining us here on stage.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about the presence of F.E.A.R 3. We debuted the game on GTTV, and now you're showcasing it here at E3. First, before we get to the co-op, tell us what the game is all about.
Well, the game really is about co-op. It's something that we wanted to enter into the franchise from the very beginning, and that's what we focused on, and I believe that we've really hit the mark on it.
And tell us why it was such a priority for you guys to do that. What does it bring that's going to make the series different?
Well, from the very get-go, we wanted to evolve the franchise, and co-op just made a lot of sense to us. In fact, we drew back to the very first F.E.A.R game, and we found two perfect characters for our co-op, Paxton Fettel and Point Man. And so they just were the perfect co-op match, and we drew upon that. And from there, we just everything just fell into place for us.
Excellent. Before we dive into the gameplay, tell us why those characters make such a perfect match for co-op and what we can expect.
Well, that brings us to our Divergent co-op. Those two characters are very different. Paxton Fettel is a ghost. He's come back from the grave. He is now psychically linked to his brother, and then Point Man is a regular person. And so just between those two guys, there is that difference, and we're drawing upon those differences for the abilities that they use.
Excellent. Tell us a little bit about those abilities and how they're individual to the gameplay style.
Well, for Point Man, he is that traditional first-person shooter character. He's got that run-and-gun mentality. He draws upon that slow-mo ability of his that was a hallmark in the first F.E.A.R game. And we also introduced something new to him. He can now use first-person cover. For Fettel, he's a ghost. He can do things like suspend characters, he can stun characters, and then he has his ultimate ability, which is possession. So any enemy that he comes across, he can possess that enemy and draw upon those skills and abilities of that enemy. Excellent.
Well, we're doing a live demo here on the GT stage. So Frank, let's take a look at it right now. We'll step aside and let the guys do their thing as we jump right into F.E.A.R 3, which has a big presence here at E3 2010, jumping into the co-op. All right, Frank, so we're jumping into the gameplay here. Tell us what we're taking a look at.
Well, we're looking at a level that's about 3/4 of the way into the game. The two brothers have crash landed onto a bridge. They are trying to get across to the bridge to Armacam's headquarters. Armacam is currently trying to clean up the mess that they're partially responsible for, which is something that you saw at the end of F.E.A.R 1. And as you can see down here, Fettel with the ghost hand, and up on top we have Point Man. And as soon as we get into the level a little bit further, we'll have a chance to see the different abilities between the two characters. With F.E.A.R is, it's all about horror and action. Right now we have a chance to take a look at the horror. Very atmospheric, a lot of blood, a lot of guts, a lot of atmosphere. Audio also plays a huge role in F.E.A.R games, and this game is no different.
Obviously, we have very distinct characters here. Talk a little bit about how throughout the course of the co-op mode, you're going to have the opportunity to experience the different things that they'll be able to do.
As soon as we get past this area, we'll get into some combat, and we'll have a chance to see how Point Man and Fettel work together in combat situations. For right now, though, when the players are exploring, we'll see Fettel in one of his unique abilities, which is he's able to see things that Point Man cannot see. And when that happens, he can often go into hidden areas, find secret stashes, and a lot of times find alternate routes. And the two players can use those alternate routes to strategize differently and attack any kind of combat situation that they may have found difficult the first time around.
Obviously, so for the players, what are you envisioning that the players who me and a friend are sitting down to play this in terms of determining who's going to take on which role? That's something unique to bring to the table as well, because it's a different gameplay experience, correct?
That's correct. In fact, your play style will definitely fit the type of character you want. If you're the guy that wants to go ahead and wants to be the guy that sort of cleans out the area, sort of protects the more fragile character, which is Fettel, then you want to play as Point Man. But if you want to be the guy that stands back, uses his unique abilities, but knows that he's a little bit more fragile, then you'll want to stand back and let Point Man go forwards.
an example of some of the action taking place right now.
Right there, we saw Ernest. He possessed a soldier with his fetal body, and now he's taken on the ability of that soldier. He's using the gun, and he's pretty much the character of Point Man during this moment. But he can only maintain that body for a short amount of time, and there he went. He just burned out at that point, and now he's back to his fetal body. And so it's a combination of between using his ghost abilities and the soldier abilities, and that's part of the strategy that the player needs to consider when he goes into these combat abilities.
And as far as how this experience plays out, assuming that you wanted to go through single player, AI would simply control the other character, is that correct?
Actually, no. We decided to not have an AI buddy. The F.E.A.R 1 and F.E.A.R 2, the F.E.A.R franchise, people know it as something to explore and to experience on their own. And so we didn't want an AI buddy messing up that mixture. And so when you play it single player, you do not have an AI buddy. When a co-op player joins, the co-op player then comes into existence.
Excellent. Any alteration to the story in that regard then, considering the
No,
two
actually
characters?
the story and the co-op mode and the single player mode, they're all the same. Yeah, so the narrative and the mission structures are exactly the same. There's no difference between the two. If you fire up the single player game, your buddy can join in at any time and it becomes co-op mode flawlessly.